So hello everybody. Once again we'll retake and restart, which is okay. That life doesn't give you opportunities like that, but Zoom does. And so today is a very, very important day. It's 21st June and people over here are going to tell you why it's so important. But you know, it was just by chance that today the sound fell on this day. So I did not plan it out. It just kind of created its own energy and said, we need to be here on this day. So I'm going to introduce to you two beautiful people and Binaifa, who will be coming at about 9:15 and doing cards for us. So I have Chintan Dalal and Evelet Sequeira. So first we get in Chintan Dalal. And this is a place which is Yaro Ka Adda, a place where friends meet every evening. At 9:30, actually, today we shifted the time to 8 o'clock. I just thought of the Prime Minister of our country and said, why not copy him, yaar? You never know, kal kya ho, right? Copy karte karte. So anyway, that's just jokes apart. I'm very, very grateful to Chintan for taking this invite that I had given him and to do sound healing for you guys, especially today on 21st of June. Because there's so much happening around our earth and around everything that we are right now experiencing. There is a pandemic going on. There is stuff moving around, and we are sitting in between everything and trying to hold our ground together. There are some things that are not in your control. And somewhere I've always found sound healing or sound music or sound, anything to do with sound, brings up stuff for people that they didn't ever experience before. If I talk about myself, I've had an amazing experience with sound, and Chintan is just such an amazing teacher. He was actually my teacher number 3. So I first went to Sujata Singhi. The second person I walked and I learned from her is Priyanka Patel, then Chintan Dalal, and then I had Jan Zeiger, studied under these 4 different teachers. And they have all been amazing, and they've molded my journey in a very beautiful manner. Each one brought in their own stuff, and I learned different things from each one of them. Chintan is someone who's very unorthodox, and I like that about him. If there was someone who would tell me, aise hi karna hai, you can't move, you have to do things like this only, my mind says, why can't I do it differently? So he said, well, you can do it any whichever way, Anu, but as long as there is harmony in sound, that's what is more important than anything else. He taught me how to bring harmony in my sound. And something he said was so interesting. I told him, everybody seems to be teaching sound right now. He looked at me and says, Tujhko sikhana hai? Yeah, I want to teach, but not right now. He says, Tujhko sikhana hai, to main tulko bolta hu. I will give you a trainer certificate. You can go and teach anytime. That's the kind of guy he is. That's the kind of trainer he is. He doesn't think of a student as a competition. He looks as a student as someone who's capable of being in his place. And that explains the bigness that Chintan has. It's amazing that when you have teachers like that come into your space widens up. They don't shrink you. So thank you so much, Chintan, for always expanding my space, for being the beautiful you, more like a friend, someone I can sit down and chat with in the middle of the night about ghosts. Absolutely. And I did. Someone who I can say, hi, handsome, how are you? And someone who can take a joke, who doesn't sit down and say and frown and say, I am this and this, and now you cannot talk to me like that. He's not that kind of guy, guys. He's an amazing, amazing teacher. And if you really want to learn sound, this is my journey. And these are my teachers. I put them, I'm asking them to, they've been kind enough, let's put it like this, to play for us. I don't think we all have experimented too much with the Zoom, with Facebook Live. We're doing things because of the pandemic, and technology is becoming part of this whole story. So if there are any technical glitches, do forgive us. I'm sure Chintan is going to weave a mat of magic for you guys for the next 1 hour. Chintan, over to you. I would like you to speak something before you go in for sound. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, Anu.
Thank you.
And I'll thank you and your entire team who's obviously working in the back end also. Thank you, Evelyn, for being a part of this. Your presence, obviously we connected a couple of years ago, and then, life moves on, but all of us are still within that space. Sound is what connects everything, all of us and the whole universe, any which ways. I always start all my workshops with the fundamental sutra of sound itself, which defines it all. And I'll start this with that, is Nada Brahma Vishwarupa, Nada hi Sakala Jiva Rupa, Nada hi Shankar, Nada hi Shakti, Nada hi Dharma, Nada hi Karma, Nada hi Bandhan, Nada hi Mukti, Nadam, Nadam, Sarvanadam. The whole universe is only and only sound. In which case, if your difficulties, your ailments, your sufferings are an embedded sound and a frequency within your body and your mind. And so the solutions will also lie only and only within the realm of sound. What we are all experiencing for the last 3 months, which has been the most fantastic time for me. I mean, it's amazing to be alive in such times, when you can actually experience time stand still. Okay, this is that turning point, the pause, the gap, the gestalt that so many of you spiritual seekers and gurus would have experienced within yourself internally on your journeys. This is also the gestalt and the pause that so many great masters have spoken about, especially Osho. He keeps talking and talking about the pause, the gestalt, the turning point. This is that turning point of Earth. This happens once in 256 years. This is what we call as the Pluto cycle. Pluto is represented by Yamraj, which is the other half of Shiva, the destroyer. And to be able to physically experience it in your own lifetime, I would say, is the greatest thing that you can achieve in your destiny. How and what way you utilize this turning point, this gap, this pause, has obviously been up to you. There are so many who have used it marvelously. And yet there are many, many who are still trying to learn the ropes of what we will call the new order. Okay. The sound bath today that I will conduct, which I haven't conducted a sound bath for quite a long time. But yes, I love doing my sound baths for special occasions. And so today's sound bath will be what we call as re-evolution, because it's only in the times of adversity that us as humans or as species are forced upon to evolve. So this is our time to evolve in every manner. Tuning our vibrations. Look, I understand that a lot of people have been busy upgrading the skills, which is fantastic. But the logical mind stops somewhere. This lockdown has taught us, all of us, that the logical mind has to stop and the higher intelligence has to emerge. Being able to tune your body, your vibrations to that higher frequency is what will actually bring in the true success. Okay. Skills, no skills, it doesn't really matter actually. If your vibe is great, your tribe is great. With that, if you have a few questions, we can take them, or I would probably want to use this entire time for the sound bath and the meditation. Now, within the meditation, I don't know how many of you would know how to meditate. So I will quickly draw your attention on a real technique of meditation. It's actually the simplest thing in this whole wide world, and yet the most difficult to capture. All of us are connected to this world, to this life, through our breath. Na, the word itself means, na is the breath, and the is the sound of the breath. And all I want you to do is be aware constantly of every inhalation and every exhalation. It is a wave. It rises and then it peaks and then it falls and then it rises again. And that's how the whole universe keeps continuing in a endless time loop. Anu and Eve, over to you guys if you have any questions before we start.
I don't have any questions, but I would like to just introduce the Evelet before we go further. Evelet, could you unmute yourself, please? Thank you. So Evelet will be coming after Chintan, and she will be talking about womb healing with sound and voice. And I will give her a proper introduction once her time zone comes. Evelet, would you like to say something about anything that you would like to say, hi, or whatever else you want to say?
I just want to thank each one for being here and present. And especially, Anu, thank you. And Chintan, it is such a joy to be once again with you. And I guess we are all Sound family members. So it's just great that the two of us are here together in this big circle of people to help everyone move to another level of vibration. So I give my love and blessings to Chintan as he moves ahead to bring this lovely sound bath to all of us. Thank you.
So, Evelet, what did I hear? And you must
have
heard.
Tell me.
Funny bone just goes up. I heard we are the only three sound here.
Oh, really? No.
I'm looking at it from my point of view. This is how my brain tweaks everything. Great. Guys, just want to tell you all of us are beautiful and we all belong to the sound family right now. So just enjoy yourself. Chintan, over to you. Thank you, Evelet.
So the first thing that we do is, take the most comfortable position. Probably the best position would be the Savasana for the sound bath. Okay. Savasana, shav itself means a dead body or a corpse. You put the I in between, which is I, the aham, and it becomes Shiva. Okay. So you take away the I and you are a corpse, which is Shava. So the best pose to lie down would be the Savasana. Sit back, just focus on your breath, focus on your navel, and enjoy this ride. You can, tone down your lights. I'll obviously guide you all back into the normal consciousness after the sound bath, but just enjoy this entire sound bath. Okay, so we will start, and close your eyes, lie down in a comfortable position. And slowly, take a deep breath.
जानवी देखो चिंतन लाइव है उसका वॉल्यूम क्यों
inhalation. Become aware of how your breath travels till your navel. With every exhalation, be fully aware of how the breath travels out and it pauses for a moment. Be constantly aware of every inhalation and every exhalation. Slowly, slowly, come back.
रमेश एक दिवस जमा तो दे हाँ
Slowly, come back to normal consciousness. Refresh, 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 refresh. Gently open your eyes and come back to normal consciousness. Refresh, 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 refresh. Was the sound clear, Anu?
Sound was clear for recording, but I don't think it went on the Facebook. But then I was on
Okay,
Facebook and people have come into the Zoom, so it's all well.
awesome.
All is good. So I would really invite all of you to share your experience, how you felt. You can raise your hand in the Zoom and let me know that you would like to speak, and we'll unmute you. Or you could put a the message. We will send you, it's got recorded, guys, so you can always access the recording. It's going to be there forever for everyone to go back and hear it. It was beautiful. It was amazing.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
What an amazing. I mean, how beautiful can it get? I wish I could have just, and I will do that later.
I know, I know.
Awesome session. Still vibrating literally from head to toe. Why don't you unmute yourself, Radha, and just say what you are writing down? Radha,
Yeah.
I encourage you to just unmute yourself and just speak. Radha, you unmuted. You can speak.
Hello.
Okay.
Hello. Hello. Can you hear me?
They're speechless. We're writing down. Thank you. Beautiful, amazing, relaxing, Chintan. Teji, why don't you unmute yourself and just express how you felt? Meena ji, you could do the same. Thank you.
Hello.
Yes, Teji.
Hi, Anu. Hi, everybody. Chintan, thank you so much. For such a long time, this is my first experience of sound healing. And I had a slight migraine since noon. And I'm feeling so beautiful and relaxed right now.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Congratulations for that, Teji. Brilliant. We have Meena ji, you could maybe unmute Meera Iyer. You could unmute yourself and express.
Anu, we can also take questions because we are all here any which ways. That may help someone actually.
Yeah, maybe you can just go ahead and put a request again. Guys, anybody got a question? Just put it down in the chat and I will read it out.
Sujata, you put a question that you could feel the vibrations in the navel, right?
Yes.
You can unmute yourself and we can. So this entire sound bath was designed to obviously cleanse. I wouldn't really say chakras because I don't come from that school of thought. But yeah, I would say that all the nadis in certain manner, and the nabhi is from where all your 72,000 nadis originate. And I definitely, every time I do a sound bath, that is one of the key intentions. Most of you would have heard in between, probably consciously, unconsciously, a small chirping sound which I create. A very shrill, high frequency chirping sound that I create. It is specifically used, I specifically use it to cleanse the navel chakra. Okay.
Okay.
It is also in the process of yoga, we call it urdhva reta, which is upturning the downward flowing energy into the higher consciousness. So that is one of the fundamental milestones of spiritual journey itself. Okay.
I felt it in the navel and then I felt in my throat.
Yes. So obviously, absolutely.
Brilliant. So people are
That was
sending a lot of messages where they are completely enjoying themselves. Vinita, Sandhya, I don't have certain names. Sujata, Savita, Vinita, Neetu, Reshma, all of them are saying brilliant.
Shubha has mentioned that it felt very hard in the beginning and then she could relax in, which is again in certain manner correct, because in certain manner the ego and the mind really does not want to change at the underlying layer. Although when you're conscious you do want change in life, but unconsciously the ego and the mind does not allow that to happen very quickly. And that is why we need a healer, a guru, or a guide in your life who will crack open that shell and then you allow the universe to do its work. So yes, at times my sound baths are a little harsh in the beginning. All I'm doing is I'm just cracking the skull open. Okay.
Wonderful. I think Chintan, I'll ask you a few questions because
Yeah, for sure.
I have a question. Chintan.
Yes, go for it.
Why is it called re-evolution? You had named it in your.
So re-evolution, for a simple reason, what we've done today is practically rebooted, restarted uh, through the sound bath. If most of you would have been conscious, I actually brought you to a practical point zero, where there was no sound, and that is the point of silence. And from there, life re-begins, and you swing back into action all over again. This, all of us should be practicing any which ways every single day, but we've forgotten this ancient art and the science. And through this guided process, so sound obviously influences your consciousness, your brain waves, your vibrations. And so I slowly slowed it down. So when you are conscious, you are at a beta state of beta brainwave state, and then I take you to alpha, and then theta, and delta, and then epsilon, where you hit upon near zero, and then from there you restart again. And that's why it's re-evolution.
Thank you.
Brilliant question, brilliant answer. Anybody else wants to ask a question? This is a great opportunity, guys. Do not miss it.
Shubhangi says, I'm feeling a wave from my spine moving upwards. So spine is in itself a representation of a standing wave. We human beings are the only evolutionary process who has a spine which is erect or in a standing wave motion. Correct? And the entire process of what we so call as Kundalini awakening and XYZ, I wouldn't really go there. But yes, it is a process of unlearning the grosser mindsets and mentalities and experiences, and thus uh, the entire process of what we call as tantra is triggering the energy to open up the consciousness. And that is how, yes, at a physical body, many of you would experience energy flowing up through the spine in a knee-jerk reaction, which is perfectly okay, not a problem, it's just a release.
So Chintan, I went through a whole journey from very different, every sound teacher that came across in my life
Yep,
seems to be carrying sound in a very different way.
absolutely.
And I, over a period of time, have understood that there is nothing right, nothing wrong.
Absolutely.
Yet what according to you is right and wrong? Thank you.
Okay, so yogic philosophy, Ayurvedic philosophy, right or wrong. We simply define it as the yang or the harmony and the discordant. That's what it is. Now, whether a discordant frequency which is troubling you, is it really wrong? No right and there is no wrong. If there is something which is troubling you, which is probably a discordant frequency, all you need to do is change the vibe or change the frequency, and you evolve out of it, or you grow away from it, and it's no longer discordant, it's no longer troubling you in your life. Okay, it's just different manifestations of the same universe.
Okay. How does then one decide which teacher to go to? Because every teacher seems to have a different philosophy, and that's my experience. Again, no right, no wrong. I really got baffled from one person to another. I'm asking you this one. Your voice is not clear.
This one you've asked me now.
Better.
Now, yeah, better. Okay, this one I think you asked me once earlier also, I think in the Shiv Swarodaya workshop, and I'll reply the same answer. चार गलत के पास जाकर आओ, एक आधा सही तो मिल ही जाएगा.
मतलब खुद ही डिसाइड करोगे आप कि कौन सही था कौन गलत था.
Finding a right guide, if you ask me personally from my own journey, it's a part of your destiny. Okay, it's a part of evolutionary process in its own self. Very few are lucky and chosen who find just the right masters just at the right time, and they are even luckier when you as a student, or we call them as mumukshus, can ask the guru the right questions. That is what is more important. You will find many masters out there, and if you ask me, most of them are not wrong. It's just their manifestation, their experience, their vision of this world, and their expression towards this world. It may be wrong for you, it may be right for somebody else. It's just again a matter of perception.
क्या आपको किसी घराने में से आना जरूरी है? Which means do you have to belong to any specific musical instrument
No,
and stuff
no,
like that for you to be a good sound healer? I'm
no,
not a trainer.
never. I'm not a musician. I'm sorry. I mean, if one of you is a musician, don't kill me over it. I may have made a ton of mistakes musically, but in terms of harmony, yes, I know I'm perfectly always there. You don't need to be from any gharana. The understanding of Nada yoga, this is what I'm teaching, what I've been propounding, what I've been sharing with everybody, is the science of Nada yoga, which is what the use of sound, vibrations, and breath to tune your life into balance and harmony. Correct? From Nada, you have Nadi, which is consciousness. From Nadi, you have Nadis, which is the physical manifestation of the energy and consciousness running through your entire body. From Nadis, you have the Marmas, which is, in English, we call them the acupuncture points. And from Marmas, obviously, the clinical science of Marma Chikitsa or acupuncture. You also know, many of you know that I'm a fantastic Nadi Parikshan expert. So, for me, everything is just one single continuum. All I have to do is probably listen to someone or catch hold of their pulse, and I will practically know anything and everything under the sun about that person, the person's ancestors, especially the mother side, more, because that's how we are designed as human beings, as evolutionary process. Because in women, the womb, Evelyn, I'm treading on your subject matter, but probably this would be a little interesting for you too, is you existed as a potential egg inside your great grandmother. Okay, and so all her memories, all her experiences are already within you, and when you are leading this life, you are also, your great grandparents are also continuously living these experiences through your nadi in South Indian and in Sanskrit is just what we call as the DNA chain, which is actually always alive as an experience.
Chintan, did you have any, you must have had many experiences. Can you share any experience with sound that blew you apart, that like completely took you to a place where you sat down and said, oh my God, I can't believe this happened. I can't believe this is what sound can do.
Yes, so
Things like that. Thank you.
Yes. So this was way back in 2000. My journey started quite early in life. I think many of you know about this. It started as early as the age of 3. But yeah, the real journey began somewhere around 2012 when enlightenment started happening. Uh, up till then, my fundamental tool was always the breath and the Kriya Yoga practices which I was doing. I was initiated under a great master.
At the age of 12?
No, in 2012.
Okay.
No, but my journey started at the age of 3. Okay, in meditation and vipassana. Uh, my first out of body experience was at the age of 4. Uh, life went on for quite some time. Obviously, Osho happened in between, and Krishnamurti happened in the early ages. And then, from whatever I had absorbed, there was this innate inner desire to find a living master who can teach you what's bloody written in the book as an experience. And that happened in 2012. It was funny because my expectation was quite large, because you read about Gautama the Buddha sitting under the Bodhi tree on a Purnima night, and it's supposed to be beautiful. I was sitting on Malad station outside my printer's office early in the morning, just ordered my chai and had the first sip, and bam, it just happened. Okay, and 2.5 hours I was just sitting there, enlightenment had happened.
What
Okay,
does it feel like?
the whole universe becomes you, and you become the whole universe. Everything is a part of you, and you are a part of everything else. It's as simple as that. It's not definable. We say that if you can express it and define it, then it has certainly not happened to you.
Wow.
So 2.5 to 3 hours I was just sitting in that position. World was amazing. And from there, if you ask me, every night I would go to sleep, and a new, per se, in limited language, I would say a download. It's technically not a download, it's just actually enlightening. You're just rediscovering your own true nature. Okay, and so you start understanding the nuts and the bolts of how the whole universe operates. And there is no magic or miracle, it's all a systematic science and a rhythm. It's a dance. Okay, that's why we call it Shiva's Leela. And you start understanding all of that. The more and more you understand, and it actually started becoming quite simple. I could see someone and I would see the frequency, and then probably I could just touch them and tune their frequency back to normalcy. Um, but yeah, that was the early days. And then I realized, look, why meddle with the time space continuum either? There is a better process, and that is what is to teach the person, because enlightenment, liberation, as we say, is self-realization, in which case it has to happen to you on your own, by your own self. A guru and a guide is just someone sitting there guiding you. He really cannot lift you, he should not lift you. If someone's meddling with your energies in certain manner, that's not right. That's interference in the course of natural unfolding of the universe in certain manner. He can be a part of your journey for sure. He can facilitate change, but that's how, I mean, so that's where it should end. So I never call myself a healer as such. There are better defined words in our shastras. And yes, so I practice full-fledged. Most of you know I practice a lot of Ayurveda and acupuncture. I run a full-time clinic, and that's where I want to keep things at, very neat, clean, scientific in nature.
You have had any experiences with entities and sound?
Yes, and I would honestly prefer not going to those aspects for a simple reason. Uh, when you are the whole universe and the whole universe is you, there is nothing which is separate from you, in which case entities exist only because you define them to exist. They are not bad, they are not good. They are probably a part of your imagination or a hallucination, for all that matters. If you ask me, as per yoga, we call them hallucinations of the mind. Okay, it may be a stark
So
slant
important for
to
people
many
to
practitioners of a lot of modalities, but that's how it is.
Chintan, I feel a very strong bond with you. Every time I've met you, I've felt as if I've known you forever.
I know.
I feel like a brother who I have probably connect with, a buddy with whom I can sit down and laugh.
Yes, because that's what life is all about, isn't it? And what we say as consciousness or Shiva, I was, I am, and I always will be. So that's the universal truth.
So my last question to you is, you got married, and on one end you got enlightenment so early, and a lot of people think that married life and to be so spiritual may not connect with each other. Do you find it difficult?
Not at all, actually. By the way,
She's here. Hi. Just showing up. Thank you.
yeah.
Because people have such myths. Can you please introduce her to everybody?
She's Mansi.
Hi,
Everyone.
Nancy.
Hi guys, hi.
So, look, enlightenment
Speak.
has many different expressions. My expression is I am a little bit more vocal about spirituality and the whole journey of transformation. She's not, which is perfectly great. Her expression of transformation is through dance and fitness. Every person has to find their own expression. It need not be that every enlightened master is vocal about it. There are too many masters sitting out there who are absolutely just living a normal life.
Thank you so much. There was one question coming from Teji and nobody else has raised their hand.
Yep.
So Teji, could you please unmute yourself and ask the question?
Not a question. Actually, when Chintan was saying that, everybody go through their journey, and when you're ready, you get the master. I have experienced it twice. When you're prepared, the right teacher comes to you. And Anu, me getting connected to this was a master or somebody I know, Dr. Nutan. And that's how I got connected to this group for my spiritual journey start. So very well said, Chintan.
Thank you. I'll extend this. Most of my students from the Shiv Swarodaya workshop would remember this, that when the student is ready, the master appears, and when the student is truly ready, the master disappears.
So well said, Chintan.
And that
Yes, yes.
Guru Shishya Parampara is supposed to be. It is not supposed to be binding. If someone is limiting you within their gurudom, then he is not a real guru. So that answers your question, Anu, one of the previous questions.
That really wasn't a question. I did say that you've never restricted me. In fact, you've given me a dream that I didn't have myself.
Absolutely. Anybody who restricts you is not a true guru. Guru itself means the dispeller of darkness. If they are putting you into a bondage, a binding, or a limitation, then they are not a guru.
Thank you so much. I am in such deep gratitude to you and Mansi for being here.
Most welcome.
And, I feel as if I've come home.
Sorry.
And more so because I feel that a lot of people are going to benefit today from what you have done for us in the last 1.5 hours.
Oh, thank you so much.
And the other reason is that people can then have maybe not run around to 10 gurus and find one. They can really find one easily.
Absolutely. I mean, look, it's a science of tools and techniques and using them rightly. It's never supposed to be about the person. Let's say if you're directing this towards me, I'm still, again, the body is always just an instrument. Okay, the tools and the techniques which we call the Sanatan Dharma have always existed. It was never me who invented them. I just, by the way types rediscovered them, and I've been putting them into a deliverable order, a digestible order over the last 8-10 years of whatever I've been doing. But yeah,
I think I've been very lucky. I've had very good masters in my life, and all 4 were correct. Sujata Singhi, Priyanka Patel, Chintan Dalal, and Jan Zeigel. And you know what? All of you got different flavors in my life and different colors in my life. I would define all of you with different colors and say, that's how I felt with all of you. Like different colors of the rainbow, bringing about different notes in my life. I'm very, very grateful to the sound and to each and every one of you for supporting and to be here. Thank you, Chintan. Is there anything you would like to say before we conclude this talk today?
no,
guest here.
I would probably want to conclude that one, Corona will be gone, so not to worry. Uh, it's a matter of time, couple of more months. By mid of July, it will peak a little further, and then by September it should be gone. Life will be normal. Uh, when there is a bottom, there is always a V-shaped recovery, and that is what all of us will experience. This is, as I did mention, a Pluto transit. So when Pluto hits zero, it's rock bottom zero. The whole world comes to a standstill. And when Pluto hits 1 degrees is when you find what we call as a flight of a bird, and everything will come back to normalcy in certain manner. So yeah, that's what life is all about, and the most amazing times to live in.
It is. And एक चीज तो बहुत अच्छे से समझ में आई कि जब लोग मरने लगे थे, वैसे तो मरना बड़ा आसान था उनके लिए. हर दूसरे दिन सोच लेते थे कि आज सुसाइड कमिट कर लेंगे, आज लड़ाई हो गई है इसलिए हम मरने जाएंगे. आई विल ट्रांसलेट इन इंग्लिश लेटर. पर जब सच्ची में मौत आके तुम्हारे दरवाजे के सामने खड़ी हुई ना, तो किसी की इतनी हिम्मत नहीं थी कि कोरोना वायरस के पेशेंट के साथ जाके सो जाए.
हाँ, नहीं, मैं मेरा क्लिनिक 1.5 महीने से चालू है. हम रोज पेशेंट भी देखते हैं, हमको कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता.
सही कह रहे हो. और मैं हर रोज with everything I have faced this camera and said, let's do the masti.
I'll put in a trick to your brains. The whole universe is you, and so if you believe something exists, be it spirits or be it orbs or be it coronavirus, then it exists as your reality. If you believe that it does not exist, then it does not exist for you.
Absolutely. There are 2 people who put up their hand. If anybody else wants to ask a question, this is now the time. Ekta, please unmute yourself and ask the question.
Eve, am I eating away your time? I'm so sorry.
So don't worry, we have all the time in the world today. She can have another 1 hour, no problem. Ekta, could you please unmute yourself?
Yeah, I have done it, Anu. Thank you. I was observing silence today, but I think I couldn't resist, and I would ask the question. So, Chintan, I want to know that what is that one, thing that we can do every day to connect with the purest form of divine sound?
Breath. Be aware constantly of every passing breath. Be aware of when you inhale, there comes a pause near the navel. Okay. Be aware of that. When you exhale, there is again an outer pause. Be aware of that. Breath awareness, breath awareness, breath awareness. You focus on the breath, which is your connection to this whole life and the universe. Observe it very innately and intently, and be observant of the subtle sounds just at the tip of your earlobes, and automatically it will actually happen as an experience. We say that the universe will teach you, in which case just listen in to this gentle buzzing sound of the universe and be observant of the breath constantly, continuously. Rest, it will actually unfold within you. The wisdom, the understanding, what are the secrets, what is the truth, what is not, how the human body works, the mind works, all of that will unfold on its own within yourself. You actually never need to read too many books, nor do too many processes and stuff like that. If you can simply focus on your breath, I always say, if I know this body, then I know everybody.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much, Chintan. Thank you, Anu.
Soft, very harmonious voice. Teji, question again. So go ahead.
No, Anu, no question. But I just loved the last line. If you know this body, you know everybody. I just love this, Chintan. It is so true. And yeah, breath is your way of physical body connecting to your soul. Never miss that.
If you ask me, my life, obviously the physical life obviously started with the breath, and it will end with the leaving breath. But my experience of spirituality, of meditation, started obviously with anapan sati, which is the breath. And then obviously I went through the whole another journey for a good 20 years, trying, Reiki and hypnotism and God knows what I mean. Yes, I also tried many Osho meditations, the Vigyan Bhairav Tantra techniques, and all of them worked fantastically. I learned Kriya Yoga extensively. I was gifted more than 200 plus Kriyas by Babaji. And then eventually, at the end of it all, enlightenment again happened simply and only with the breath. It starts and ends. That is the first and the final step.
So thank you so much. I hope we can have a session like this again.
Absolutely. फुर्सत ही है फिलहाल तो.
Many thanks, Chintan. Gratitude a lot. God bless.
Thank you for showing yourself. Can you be standing with him?
Yeah.
Chintan.
Hold on.
Rare picture है together. हमने अकेले अकेले देखा है ना?
Hold on. So can you guys all see us?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you, Chintan and Mansi.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Two
Thank you,
beautiful.
Chintan. Thank you, Masi.
Thank you. It was
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll wait back for you to sit back down.
So I will start